Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
State line business owners learn how to improve workplace safety. Belvidere Police offer ways to enhance emergency response plans.
Many people will be betting on football games with the NFL season back in full gear. Experts have a warning about scams targeting sports gamblers.
And an Illinois Chief Justice announces her retirement after more than 15 years. Her replacement, someone not new to the Supreme Court. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson.
A Rockford man is charged with various crimes.
It started when officers noticed his registration plates were expired. Early this morning, police saw a suspicious vehicle at the stop and go on Charles Street. The driver, Kenyatta Jenkins, was outside of his car when officers say they saw baggies of suspected crack cocaine in plain view. They tried to arrest the 28-year-old, but they say he ran. Police chased him and took him into custody. Officers say they found more than 21 grams of crack cocaine, a loaded handgun, and an extended magazine stolen out of Winnebago County. Jenkins faces a list of charges, including unlawful use of a weapon, armed violence, and possession with intent to deliver cocaine.
Loves Park Police need your help finding a Rockford man who failed to appear in court. The case was over a deadly DUI crash. Samuel Gomez Gonzalez is facing multiple felonies. Prosecutors say he caused the death of 58-year-old McChesney Park woman back in 2018. Mary Wymore died on scene from a crash at Perryville and Mulford. He was scheduled to appear for a bond hearing back in August. If you know anything about Gomez Gonzalez's whereabouts, contact Loves Park Police or the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office.
The city of Rockford plans to host 3 town hall meetings to address concerns over public safety and crime. Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara, Police Chief Carla Red, and Jennifer Caciopaglia, the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Domestic Violence Prevention, will give an overview of the city's efforts to reduce violent crime. The first meeting will take place Thursday, September 22nd at Crusader Clinic, then Tuesday, October 25th at Nordloff Center. The last one will be Wednesday, November 2nd at Rockford University inside Fisher Chapel. All 3 meetings start at 5:30. From shopping malls and grocery stores to factories, local police make sure people are prepared in case of an active shooter situation.
Nikhil Delgado was on hand today as Belvidere Police educated the community about planning for a worst-case scenario. Nikhil?
That's right, Eric and Mimi. Last year, the FBI says there were 61 active shooter incidents, and many of them happened in workplaces. Belvidere Police are trying to educate business leaders so they know what to do.
A lot of these incidents happen in commerce. They happen places where the public comes in. That's what we have at the health department. And sometimes people aren't real happy when they come into the health department.
This morning, the Belvidere Police Department walked through local business leaders through a scenario in which a gunman ends up on their property. Emergency response for the Boone County Health Department, Ellen Genrich, tells me she wants to make sure her employees are always safe.
For us to train so that our employees can recognize when someone's just irate about something or when there might really be a more serious threat.
Sergeant Paul Derry with the Belvidere Police Department says it's always uncomfortable for people to talk about active shooters, but says it needs to be done so it doesn't keep happening.
These people that work together, they can sit down and talk about, well, if this were to happen, what would we do? Which exits would we use? Who's going to call and from where? Exit strategies.
Belvidere PD tells me while they train their officers on what to do in these situations, they believe it's equally important that we all know what to do too.
Thinking about this and thinking about what they would do can ultimately save their lives. And hopefully they not only think about it themselves, but they pass it on to others.
Ellen tells me the health department is going to have more active shooter scenario drills in the coming months.
A lot of times I think in your workplace you just get very comfortable. And so I think it's really important for people to think critically about their workplace and what they would do if any of these scenarios happen. Not just a fire, but what if there is an active threat coming at me? What should I do?
The Belvidere Police says they hope that this trend of active shooters stop. Go to mystateline.com for more resources on how to come up with an active shooter exit plan. Eric?
Thanks, Nikhil. As football season is back, many people in Illinois will be gambling on the games. The Better Business Bureau is once again warning fans to be aware of too good to be true sites. The BBB says the scam works as a website that looks trustworthy and even has an enticing introductory bonus that will make you want to bet there. But when you try to cash out your winnings, You'll find out you can't withdraw a cent. Scammers will make up excuses and even try to get you to deposit more money. The BBB suggests you use only established, approved services.
A gloomy inflation report sent the stock market into a tailspin. The Dow plunged by more than 1,200 points after inflation came in higher than expected. While the consumer price index slowed for a second straight month, core inflation outside of food and energy prices rose sharply from July by more than half of a percentage point. That was twice as much as what economists had predicted. That is likely to bolster the case for the Fed to raise interest rates by as much as 3/4 of a percentage point. That could happen as soon as next week. Even with that news, thousands attended a ceremony at the White House to celebrate President Biden's passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. The new law addresses several key issues for the administration, including the need to reduce prescription drug costs and global warming. It also implements a plan to reduce the federal deficit and levies new taxes on large corporations. The bill was passed last month without Republican support, which Democrats are highlighting ahead of the midterm elections.
This bill cut costs for families, help reduce inflation at the kitchen table, because that's what they look at. How much are their monthly bills and how much do they have to pay out for their necessities? And it gave them just a little more breathing room, as my dad would say. This bill will lower the deficit. This bill alone is going to lower the deficit by $300 billion over the next decade.
A new government inflation report shows consumer prices remain stubbornly high in August, rising 8.3% compared to the year before. That's a slight increase from last month, but down from previous months. Illinois Supreme Court Chief Justice Ann Burke will retire at the end of November.
She's been on the court since 2006 and has served as Chief Justice since October 2019. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the Capitol. This is the second retirement announcement for a justice this year, with former Justice Rita Garman retiring this summer, being replaced by Justice Lisa Holder White. Incoming Justice Joy Cunningham will be the second black woman to serve as a Supreme Court justice after Holder White. On top of the 2 seats already changing this year, there are 2 seats up for election in November. It could lead to major changes for the state's highest court.
I mean, and the court generally has been, not certainly isn't seen as being overly partisan in Democrat and Republican terms, but it gets you, younger perspectives, more diverse perspectives.
Joy Cunningham ran for a Supreme Court seat in 2012, but lost to sitting Justice Mary Jane Thies in the Democratic primary. Cunningham will take over the seat at the end of November. Thies takes over as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court on the same day.
Arguments over abortion are erupting in the Capitol as lawmakers consider a new bill.
That bill would ban abortions nationwide after 15 weeks, with some exceptions. Hannah Brandt shares some of the debate with us from Washington.
Instead of letting states decide, one lawmaker wants to set a nationwide standard for abortion access.
Abortion should be the exception, not the rule.
Senator Lindsey Graham is proposing a federal ban on abortions past 15 weeks, with exceptions only for rape, incest, or to save the mother's life.
We're not a better nation here, aborting babies at 15 weeks who can feel excruciating pain.
Democrats in the White House call the proposal extreme and out of touch.
That is not in line with the majority of Americans.
And Senator Patty Murray says Republicans want to rip away women's rights.
They sure seem to think they know better when it comes to your body. This is horrifying.
Senator Chuck Schumer added he thinks the plan is hypocritical.
Republicans are twisting themselves into pretzels, trying to explain why they want nationwide abortion bans when they said they leave it up to the states.
And Republican leader Mitch McConnell seemed to echo that idea when asked about the bill.
I think most of the members of my conference prefer that this be dealt with at the state level.
It's unclear if other Republicans support Senator Graham's bill. Senator Rick Scott says he hasn't decided.
There has to be reasonable restrictions, but there has to be exceptions.
With Democrats currently in control of Congress, Senator Graham says he realizes his bill may not even get a vote, but promises.
If we take back the House and the Senate, I can assure you we'll have a vote on our bill.
But without more unity from his party, he can't guarantee it would pass. In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, it sure has been nice to see the sunshine out there this afternoon following a couple of cloudy, cool, and damp, rainy days. Temperatures this afternoon made it into the 70s, more typical of where we should be here for this time of year. At 77 in Rockford, 74 in Poplar Grove, Freeport, 74 also in Dixon, and 73 right now in Rochelle. Winds, they've been from the northwest, but not quite as gusty as what they were yesterday. Our wind speed actually turns calm tonight, and that could lead to some areas of fog here as we go through the morning tomorrow. We take a live look with our Supply Corps camera over downtown Rockford, looking to the south, brought to us by Window World. Well, we've had plenty of blue sky out there. You may have noticed the sky has a little more of a kind of a white, milky look to it, and that's actually smoke caught in the upper part of the atmosphere from the smoke from the wildfires out west, getting caught in the jet stream and moving right downstream across the plains, the Midwest, and into the Great Lakes. A little more of the concentration of that smoke shifting further to the south, but I think we still see some of that kind of hazy sky here as we go through the night, along with some of that fog too. And just like what we had last week, the sunset and sunrise tomorrow, you may notice the sun actually on the horizon having a little more of kind of that vibrant red look to it. And sometimes even without some of that smoke and haze, the sun can have, or at least on the horizon, you get a little more of that kind of red look to it. Well, reason for that, we have to look at our visible light spectrum made up of your Roy G. Biv, right? Your red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet colors. Well, green, blue, and your more violet, purple colors are of the shorter wavelength. So those, as that light goes through the longer portion here of the atmosphere, because remember, as the sun sets or it rises, that sunlight going through a longer distance here of the atmosphere, you see that light, or at least that visible light, scattered a little more frequently. Long wavelength colors, red, orange, and yellow, are least scattered. So those are the ones that we tend to see a little more visible with our eye as the sun sets or as the sun does rise. So that's why sometimes that sunset can have a little more of that red look to it. Dust particles, pollution, and even smoke and haze in the atmosphere can actually enhance some of those colors. So that's why tonight you may notice a little more of that. High pressure continues to build in, although there are some higher level clouds working over top that ridge to the west of us, and we may actually see a little increase in some of the higher level clouds here as we go through the morning tomorrow. Futurecast shows that. We've actually zoomed it out because there's not really a whole lot to talk about over the next couple of days with high pressure in control. I think we keep a couple of clouds around during the day tomorrow, but we stay mostly dry. Temperatures back into the upper 70s, right near that 80-degree mark. Back down into the 50s Wednesday night into Thursday. Thursday, our winds turn a little more to the south, so I think we get into the low 80s for Thursday afternoon. Down to 52 tonight. Calm winds. Watch for some fog late tonight, especially in the lower lying areas. That should burn off quickly. Back near 80 for tomorrow afternoon. A little breezy during the day with that wind kind of shifting to the east and southeast. That ridge of high pressure working to the west of us, so we maintain that northwest flow through tonight, but watch what happens as we go through the day tomorrow and then through the rest of the week. That ridge of high pressure begins to build in. That carries us over into the weekend as you've got a strong area of high pressure down to the southeast of us, another low pressure system up to the northwest. What does that do? Well, that brings in quite a bit of warmth, and temperatures by early next week could come close to that 90-degree mark. It'll be quite a contrast from where we were earlier this week. So near 80 tomorrow, 82 on Thursday. We keep those low 80s for Friday, Saturday, mid 80s on Sunday. Small chance we'll watch a cold front as that sits to the northwest of us, guys, for the weekend. May see a small shower or thunderstorm chance Saturday into Sunday.
Now sports with sports director Scott Leber.
Yes, the Packers have owned the Bears. They won their last 6 meetings and 21 of their last 24. But the Packers can't just accept that another win Sunday night when the Bears visit Lambeau Field will be automatic. Far from it if the Packers don't play better than they did last Sunday in Minnesota. Might help if the Packers get Aaron Jones some more carries against the Vikings, who has handed the ball only 5 times despite averaging almost 10 yards per carry.
No, sir, I'm not frustrated. I just do what I can when my number is called, make the most of every opportunity I get. I can affect the game in other ways as well. So whether it be pass protection, catching the ball out of the backfield, or running it, just being there for my team. It doesn't matter how many times I'm touching the ball, as long as I'm out there contributing to helping my team win.
Well, Matt Eberflus isn't afraid to play his young guys with the Bears. He threw several rookies out there this past Sunday. Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon, Braxton Jones, and Dominic Robinson all saw extensive action, and they all had their moments. Robinson had 7 tackles and 1.5 sacks. Very impressive.
Hey, man, I'm just happy. I'm blessed. You know, God allowed me to get picked by the right team. I got put in the right scheme to be able to do this, so I'm going to make the most of it.
Well, the Cubs are going after their second straight win over the Mets tonight in New York. The White Sox will host the Rockies in the start of a 2-game series. The Sox are 3 games behind the Guardians. Well, check this out. The freshman-sophomore team members from DuPec taking a page out of Justin Fields and the Bears' victory slush on Sunday by doing their own mudslide. This was yesterday following their 14-0 victory over Fulton. That win improved DuPec's record to 3-0. What happens in the NFL quickly trickles down to the youth level, doesn't it? I love this.
The First Warning Interactive Radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and more. Things are going to be pretty quiet here as we go through the night tonight. Temperatures back down into the low 50s, so a little cool out there. Watch for some areas of fog. Could see that as we go through tomorrow morning. Back up close to 80 tomorrow afternoon. 82 on Thursday, warming up by early next week.
All right. Thanks, Candace.
And thank you for spending some of your time with us. Stay safe.